After taxpayers became incensed at the Labor government housing asylum seekers at their expense, and more importantly, after weeks of violent protest outside the Bell Hotel in Epping, when an asylum seeker resident was charged with sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl, the use of hotels to house asylum shoppers is now front and center in the UK. Now, you do notice I said asylum shoppers. That's because, contrary to the claims that these folks are simply escaping persecution, virtually none of the asylum seekers come from countries that border the United Kingdom. So each has chosen to transit other safe havens in order to demand asylum from the Brits. Now, under international norms, asylum seekers are obliged to seek asylum in the first safe harbor they arrive, like Turkey or Italy, for example, not to travel across Europe, passing on multiple safe havens to cross over and demand asylum in the United Kingdom. The UK's new Home Secretary is off to a bumpy start. ITV reports that newly appointed Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood is expected to unveil plans to move asylum seekers from hotels into military barracks, following a wave of protest outside hotels housing migrants. Now, folks, we've seen this movie before when the Obama administration subjected military families to misery and degrading declines in the quality of life by sticking thousands of illegitimate criminal alien invaders onto military installations in the United States, undermining public safety, damaging community facilities, and leading to previously unknown crime on military installations, putting our families at risk for Obama's political ambitions. Now, I don't know if UK military installations house service members' families on their concerns, but I suspect they do. And if they do, I fear for the family members who will now face seeing their head of household deployed overseas while strangers set up camp on their installations. Hopefully, I'm wrong about where military families reside in the UK. She said, our overriding priority is to close the asylum hotels, expensive asylum hotels. We had 400 of them opened up under the previous government. The numbers are coming down, but not fast enough. True. But the Labour government has not moved the needle in over a year. As far as wrapping things up, they've barely done anything. In fact, they increased the number of asylum hotels briefly. The only significant decline in housing asylum seekers in hotels occurred in the final year of the previous government, which she blames for coming up with the concept in the first place. And she's correct. But they actually declined the number significantly in their final year in office. Now, I should think the overriding priority for the Home Office is to address the concerns of UK citizens and staunch the flow of arrivals, not to shift them onto military bases out of sight. I wonder how many of these unvetted asylum seekers come from states that are unfriendly to the UK, or outright enemies, or state sponsors of terrorism. It seems like a foolhardy concept to put unvetted arrivals on military installations, places the average Brit does not even have access to. The average British citizen can't even enter these military installations. You're going to put asylum seekers there who are unvetted. Now, if you wonder why these asylum hotels have become an issue, just try booking hotels in the UK at a reasonable price. There are no reasonable price hotels left in this country. Well, I embellish slightly. Also, the number of people pouring in is absolutely ridiculous. This from The Guardian. An estimated 1,000 people arrived in the UK by small boat on Saturday alone. And French authorities say 24 people were rescued while trying to cross the channel. This is insane. 1,000 people per day. One current asylum seeker told The Guardian, like other asylum seekers, we did not leave our country willingly. We had a nice house and a good business there. We only left because our lives were in danger. And you magically arrived in the UK on what? A flying carpet? A commercial flight? Greece, Turkey, Italy just wouldn't do it for you. Those are safe havens. You probably transited some of them, most of you. The Home Office could solve this by allowing us to work while we are waiting for our claims to be processed. Then we can provide our own accommodation and buy our own food. We know the UK is a civilized country, but we've seen racism here. Racism is killing the world. We're here for peace. No. Thugs, leftists, and failed governance are killing the world. Racism is a genuine issue, but it's not the reason the world is in trouble. Asylum seekers are not permitted to work to prevent the abuse of the system. Clearly, that mechanism is not preventing the abuse of the UK system. So perhaps a military-style tribunal to deport the fraudulent ones much more rapidly is in order. Since you now plan to put asylum seekers on military installations, it makes sense. You can use military tribunals to hear their cases, and those who are fraudulent, deport them. Those who are legitimate, grant them asylum. What say you, new Home Secretary? Sounds like a plan to me, Miss Mahmood. What do you think? Cheers.